What is the best historical evidence I think this is a good question for the audience as a whole. What's the best historical evidence you can give for the Christian faith?
The best I'm not a big fan of that word historical. So what I look at, remember, everything we work in cold cases, we're working, any crime you work, you're working an event in the past. We don't get to watch crimes in live time. We're not like scientists who work in a laboratory environment with crime. We are always examining events. I guess you could call them historical events, even if it's only 30 years ago or it's only 30 minutes ago. So what we're looking at is, do we have any good evidence that would, so for example, the first thing I wanted to know when I was looking at the New Testament is, could I reasonably consider the Gospels to be a reliable eyewitness record? That's up for debate, and people will debate that for ages, okay? And I've written a ton about this in both my books and on the website. And what I try to argue is that I think we've got good reason to at least suggest that the authors of this account wanted it to be considered an eyewitness account. We have statements like John at the end of his account where he says, hey, I'm writing about all that Jesus did. I could write a lot more. I could fill books with all this stuff. Okay. Then the question is, well, then is it a reliable account? Is it an account, an eyewitness account? And then is it a reliable account? And if it's a reliable account, this is how, by the way, I get supplemental reports from 30 years ago in which a witness has been interviewed by a detective in 1972. Now, that witness has been dead for 10 years. So I have no way to go re-interview that person. And the detective has been dead for 5. So now I have no way to go interview the writer of the report. But I've got this report I have to assess, even though I have no access to the first eyewitness or the person who wrote about the eyewitness. That's much like the Gospels. Well, I know how to assess those reports. There's 4 factors. I talk about them in Cold Case. 4 factors we use to assess eyewitness reliability of any document, of any eyewitness. So those 4 areas are the 4 areas that I pressed into service as I examined the Gospels. So for me, remember, when someone asks you, what is the one reason why you believe this to be true, I'm always a little bit hesitant because I never have one reason. I call this death by 1,000 paper cuts. That's what it is. It's this cumulative case of hundreds of little things that I think point to the most reasonable inference. And any one of those things is a paper cut. I could offer it to you, and I think you could be very reasonably say, well, that doesn't seem like enough. It's not enough. It's the fact it's cumulative. It wouldn't be enough in a jury trial either. But when I get 100 of these things, juries convict because there's no other reasonable alternative. And that's what I tried to do with Cold Case Christianity. That book is really about looking at the historical evidence for the reliability of the New Testament. I know it's not going to give you much. So give me a chance to recite 48,000 words, and I can give it to you right now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much for watching our video. If it was helpful and useful to you, I'd really appreciate it if you would follow us, subscribe to our channel at the bottom link here in the video, and tell your friends. And please follow us on social media.